year is 30 BCE, and the ancient world stands at the precipice of transformation. In the sprawling city of Alexandria, where the great lighthouse guides ships through treacherous waters, and the legendary library holds the wisdom of ages, a queen faces her darkest hour, the last pharaoh of Egypt, descendant of Alexander's general Ptolemy, and the inheritor of 3 centuries of Macedonian rule over the land of the Nile. She is a woman who has defied every expectation of her time, while others see her through the lens of Roman propaganda as a seductress who bewitched great men. The truth is far more complex. She is a brilliant politician who speaks 9 languages, a scholar who has walked the halls of the Mausoleum, and a pharaoh who has restored Egypt's glory after decades of decline. For nearly 2 decades, she has ruled Egypt with an iron will wrapped in silk diplomacy. She has allied herself with Julius Caesar, bearing him a son, and later bound her fate to Marcus Antonius, known as Mark Antony, in both love and war. Together, they have dreamed of an empire that would stretch from the Euphrates to the Atlantic, with Alexandria as its glittering heart. But now, as the summer heat bears down upon the delta, those dreams lie shattered. Octavian's legions have crushed their forces at Actium. Antony is dead by his own hand, believing her already departed from this world. The walls of Alexandria echo with the march of Roman boots, and the young heir of Caesar approaches with conquest in his eyes. In her palace, surrounded by the treasures of the pharaohs and the ghosts of her ancestors, Cleopatra faces a choice that will echo through eternity. She who has commanded fleets and armies, who has dined with gods and made kings kneel, must now decide how her story ends. For in these final hours, she holds the last cards in a game where the stakes are nothing less than the soul of Egypt itself. Before we start, if you happen to enjoy this video and find value in it, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like so that more people may be able to find it. Additionally, if you don't want to miss out on more videos, why not subscribe? That way you will be notified every time I upload a new video. Let's get started now, shall we? Let's go back a few months. Cleopatra finds herself trapped in a web of crises that would crush lesser rulers. The challenges pressing upon her are not merely political. They threaten the very survival of Egypt as an independent kingdom. You see, young Octavian, Caesar's adopted heir, has proven himself a far more dangerous enemy than anyone anticipated. Unlike his granduncle Julius, who was willing to share power and glory, Octavian tolerates no rivals. He has systematically eliminated every threat to his vision of Rome. And now his cold, calculating gaze has turned toward Egypt. His propaganda machine works tirelessly, painting Cleopatra not as a legitimate pharaoh, but as a foreign sorceress who corrupted noble Romans. Every day, his influence grows stronger in Rome, while hers diminishes. The naval battle at Actium made things worse for her. It has shattered more than ships. It has broken the backbone of resistance against Octavian. Cleopatra's decision to retreat with her fleet during the battle, taking Antony with her, has been catastrophic. Their supporters have melted away like morning mist. Entire legions that once shouted Antony's name now march under Octavian's eagles. The eastern territories that once acknowledged her authority are falling into Roman hands one by one. Her own capital, Alexandria, teeters on the edge of collapse. Octavian's forces draw ever closer, and panic spreads through the streets like a plague. Merchants flee with their goods. Nobles send secret messages to Octavian offering their submission, and even her own court whispers of surrender. The great city that has been the jewel of the Mediterranean for 3 centuries now faces the prospect of becoming just another Roman provincial capital. But perhaps most devastating of all, Cleopatra can no longer be certain whom she can trust. Courtiers who have served her family for generations now calculate whether their futures lie with a defeated pharaoh or a victorious Roman. Her generals hesitate to carry out orders. Her advisors speak in careful half-truths, and even her personal guard eyes the palace gates with nervous glances. The bonds that have held her kingdom together are fraying with each passing hour. Her partner in both love and war, Mark Antony, has become a broken man. The proud Roman general who once commanded the loyalty of legions now drinks away his sorrows and speaks wildly of impossible victories. His deteriorating state not only deprives her of crucial support, but actively undermines what little authority they have left. Every public appearance reveals his weakness to their enemies and followers alike. Egypt's vast wealth, the envy of the ancient world, has become both her last hope and her greatest burden. She knows Octavian covets these riches above all else, but using them to buy freedom or negotiate terms would mean stripping Egypt of the resources that make it worth ruling. Every golden talent spent on mercenaries or bribes is one less tool for the future, if there is to be a future. In her private chambers, as she stares out at the harbor where her ancestors' ships once ruled supreme, Cleopatra Sectitian faces the crushing realization that the age of the pharaohs may be ending with her. The question that haunts her final hours is not whether she can win. That hope has faded like stars before dawn, but whether she can choose how her story ends and what legacy she will leave for the Egypt she loves more than life itself. Now it's the point of no return. The moment arrives with the sound of bronze doors slamming shut. Word reaches Cleopatra that Octavian's advance guard has entered Alexandria's outer districts. There is no more time for negotiation, no more room for hope. In her mausoleum, the magnificent tomb she has been constructing for herself and Antony, she makes the decision that will seal both their fates. In a desperate gambit, Cleopatra sends word to Antony that she has taken her own life. Perhaps she hopes this will spare him further anguish, or perhaps she seeks to test his love one final time. The message reaches Antony in his chambers, where he has been drowning his sorrows in wine and self-recrimination. Upon hearing of her supposed death, the last thread holding him to life snaps. "I have been a coward," Antony declares to his faithful servant Eros. "My queen has shown me the path of honor." He commands Eros to strike him down, but the loyal slave cannot bring himself to kill his master. Instead, Eros falls upon his own sword. Shamed by his servant's courage, Antony draws his gladius and drives it into his own belly. But the wound, though mortal, does not bring quick death. As Antony lies dying, word comes that Cleopatra still lives. In agony, both physical and emotional, he begs to be carried to her mausoleum. The queen, barricaded inside with her treasures and her most faithful servants, Iras and Charmian. They cannot open the sealed doors without risking capture. Instead, ropes are lowered from the upper windows and the dying Roman general is hauled up like cargo, bleeding and broken. In her arms, Marcus Antonius breathes his last. The man who once ruled half the Roman world dies not in battle, but in the embrace of the woman who shared his dreams of empire. "I die happy," he whispers, "for I have not lived without honor, and I die in the arms of my queen." When Octavian enters her mausoleum, he sees not the seductress of Roman propaganda, but a woman of 39 years. Still beautiful, but marked by the weight of kingship and recent sorrows. She attempts to charm him as she once charmed his predecessor, but this Caesar's heir is cut from different cloth. He is polite but cold, offering her nothing but the chance to live in gilded captivity. "You would have me walk behind your chariot," she says, "like a common prisoner of war." "You would walk as the last pharaoh of Egypt," he replies. "Is that not honor enough?" That evening, as the sun sets over Alexandria for the final time of her reign, Cleopatra makes her preparations. She bathes, dresses in her finest robes, and places the golden uraeus, the sacred cobra crown of the pharaohs, upon her head. She writes a final letter to Octavian requesting that she be buried beside Antony. The asp, smuggled into the mausoleum in a basket of figs, is both symbol and instrument. In Egyptian religion, the cobra is the protector of pharaohs, and its bite promises divine transformation. Some say she tested various poisons on condemned prisoners to find the most merciful death. Others claim she used a golden pin dipped in cobra venom. In her final hours, Cleopatra surrounded herself with incense, fine linens, and perhaps even a warm infusion of herbs, a ritual as old as time itself. And while we can't step into her palace, we can still enjoy a taste of that ancient elegance. I've left a link below to some of my favorite herbal teas from Adagio, rich, aromatic blends that feel like royalty in a cup. As the poison courses through her veins, Cleopatra lies upon her golden couch, flanked by Iras and Charmion, who have chosen to follow their mistress into death. When Octavian's guards break down the doors, they find her still breathing but beyond salvation. "Was this well done of your lady?" a Roman soldier demands of the dying Charmion. "Extremely well," she gasps with her final breath, "and fitting for a princess descended of so many royal kings." Cleopatra Sardenivin. Philopator, the last pharaoh of Egypt, dies as she lived, on her own terms. In choosing death over dishonor, she transforms defeat into a kind of victory. Octavian may have conquered Egypt, but he cannot claim to have conquered its queen. She has escaped his triumph, cheated his parade, and ensured that her story will be told not as a cautionary tale of Roman superiority, but as the tragedy of a great queen who loved her kingdom more than life itself. With her death, the age of the pharaohs ends, and Egypt becomes a Roman province. But in those final hours, Cleopatra has achieved a different kind of immortality. One written not in stone or gold, but in the memory of a world that will never forget the last queen of the Nile. What do you think of Cleopatra's final choice? Was her decision to end her life on her own terms an act of courage or desperation? Could she have found another path that might have preserved Egypt's independence, or was Roman conquest inevitable by 30 BCE? The story of Cleopatra continues to fascinate us nearly 2,000 years later because it raises timeless questions about power, love, loyalty, and the price of freedom. Some see her as history's greatest queen, a brilliant ruler who nearly changed the course of Western civilization. Others view her as a tragic figure whose ambitions ultimately doomed the kingdom she sought to protect. Until next time, let's all learn from history together and apply those lessons to our lives.